Yeah, credit to Louisville. They played really well. I thought, to be honest, we came out in the first quarter and played hard and hit shots, but defensively, I thought we were just missing and not really on the same page throughout the whole night. And they really capitalized on that. And I thought they played hard minus a couple kids, and we were down a couple kids, so it was foul trouble and things like that. It kind of messed up a little bit of what we could do on the court, but credit to them for how hard and how well they played. And for us, this is going to be a learning game because we have to learn from it.
Thanks, Coach. We'll open up for questions. If you guys can, just raise your digital hand. We'll call on you. Start things off with Dan.
Coach, the last couple of weeks leading up to this one, I know when you factor in everything in getting people back this week, the limited practice time, the time off, drawing Louisville, who is coming off of a loss, the way the game started out and the way the game ended. When you talk about the learning experience, what is it that you're going to reinforce that had worked really well? Again, given all the circumstances, and then at the end, what are some of the things that you're going to look back on and say, all right, we need to do X, Y, and Z, but at the same time, again, given the circumstances.
And, I thought that we shot the ball from the 3-point line as well as we have all year in that game. So I think that's something that, we can look at and say, okay, if we can shoot the ball that well against a really good basketball team, we should be able to bring that mojo moving forward. Things that I know that we have to get better at is our toughness to 50-50 balls. I thought that Louisville kind of outplayed us to almost every 50-50 ball and out-toughed us. I thought our grittiness defensively and our communication just wasn't there from start to finish. So that is, and again, we're playing two high school kids for a lot of that game, and both the Ali Palmieri and Ali Van Timmeren, and by all means, it's not, but the defense at this level compared to what they're used to, but they weren't. It was all five of like anybody that was out there. It was I thought everybody had their hiccups defensively that I hope that we can look to change. But I just told him in the locker room, and it's the truth. We practice defense against each other a lot harder than we just played against Louisville, and I'm not sure why that is. Maybe it's because we're always getting in a little ticky-tack foul trouble, but we just got to get better.
We'll go next to Asa.
Coach, do you think your team kind of faltering down the stretch of the second half, do you think conditioning and kind of the unusual practices over the last couple of weeks played a role in that change?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, with even though they didn't look physically fatigued because they're I think tough enough in that regard to play through that, I do think there was mental fatigue out there without question. And I think that's what you saw. And that's also having younger players, just in there and in the mix. And, our veterans, I thought just, we had a lot of mental mistakes, especially on the defensive end. So I will say that that's probably due to us having a short bench and not having a lot of prep time. And Louisville just playing really well.
We'll go back to Dan.
Coach, you mentioned playing Allie and Allie, your two high school seniors essentially, and it's kind of throwing an interesting dynamic into the mix just because you have a team that's used to playing together and you have to add a couple people during the year. From a chemistry standpoint, how does that develop and how does the team more or less stay fluid and change around adding personnel that maybe have different skill sets than what players are used to playing with?
Right. I think, at the end of the day, Dan, basketball is basketball, right? It's a pretty simple sport. You got to play hard. You got to, I think on the rebounding front, I thought we were terrible on the boards today. To me, it was somewhat embarrassing the way we rebounded. And that's, again, that doesn't matter who you have on the floor. That's a lot of grit and a lot of toughness that, like I said, in practice, they get after each other. And I don't know what the hesitation was today, but I'll chalk a lot of that up to just a little bit of mental and physical fatigue from being off for that 10 straight days, and then us kind of trickling back into being able to play. And we didn't get a lot of up and down like we would have maybe in general. But I think that I hope to goodness we see a better and a much improved team on Sunday.
We'll go back to Asa.
Ali Van Timmeren really has some great post moves around the basket, but seems like she's still working on finishing a little bit. What do you think is kind of the next step for her in the post as she really transitions more to the college game?
Right. I think that's going to be it. She's one of those players that can score on that. She's like a 2-level scorer, right? She can score really well around the basket, and then she can hit that spot up 3-point shot. So for us, it's just getting her more consistent at both. And consistency is always going to be a factor. I don't care what age you are until you become a junior and a senior in the ACC. Your consistency, unless you're, they're very far and few between freshmen and sophomores that are ultra consistent. So that's something that I see just continuing to develop with her. But I like that even tonight I saw some good patience and poise out of her on the low block. But then, like you said, she rushed the finishes just a little bit, which she'll grow from that because she's a straight gym rat. So I guarantee you she'll be in the first one in the gym tomorrow working on those finishes without question.